Flight 229, you're clear for takeoff.
Just like a flight plan, you have to know where you're going and how you will get there when you plan for retirement. Let Ryan Fleming help you chart out a course for your retirement with his intimate knowledge of financial planning and the airline industry. It's time for the Pilot's Advisor.
Welcome to another episode of the Pilot's Advisor. This is going to be a little bit different episode. I do not have Walter or Lee with me today, and what I wanted to focus on is a campaign that I am currently doing online that I'm emailing out to people and trying to help people out with the whole idea of retiring in these uncertain times that we have right now. So it's kind of a list of things I came up with that are the do's and don'ts to help safeguard your future. So the coronavirus and the bear market that had happened and the recession struck retirement dreams of millions of Americans. And there's no warning. Strategies built on a decade of growth became outdated, leaving many current and future retirees wondering, am I going to be okay in the future? And if you're within that critical 5 years before or after retirement, that's where the sequence of returns risks that we talked about come in. You're in a fragile decade where the economic uncertainty and market losses can hurt your retirement the most. Choices you make now are going to have a major impact on the comfort and security that you're going to have in your retirement and your future looking 20, 30 years down the road. So I'll send out an email with a guide highlighting some of the key decisions that you can make about this. If you did not get the email, you can reach out to me and I will send you this free guide. But if you're not confident that your retirement's on track to deliver the lifestyle you want amid the historic levels of uncertainty, you're in the right place. You might find yourself asking some tough questions. How does this crisis impact my monthly cash flow going forward? What will I do if another recession strikes? And how do I prepare for years of uncertainty? Because as the coronavirus has continued on through August and probably September, we have more and more uncertainty. And it makes you wonder, what moves should I be making, or should I be making any moves at all? So I want to go through do's and don'ts of dealing with uncertainty and also dealing with a lot of the issues where we have right now with the election, coronavirus, what have you, where you just really, really can't predict the future. So the number one do is focus on what's in your control. No one could have predicted the pandemic or the historic recession that it caused. Attempting to predict unpredictable or unknowable information is something that I talk about all the time when I educate clients on not predicting the market, not trying to predict the market, not trying to time the market, because it is unpredictable, and trying to control something that's unpredictable, that's a recipe for disaster, stress, frustration, poor decision making. So what can we do? Well, we can focus on what's in our control. And that's our mindset, our choices, and the decisions we make day to day. So you got to ask yourself if you're mentally prepared or not. Some critical planning questions you might ask yourself is, am I mentally prepared for this uncertainty? Do I have a retirement plan that incorporates recessions, volatility, and bear markets? Am I confident in my ability to adapt to the changing conditions and environment? And do I know how to do that within my portfolio? And if you don't, these are all things we talk about that you probably want to talk to a financial advisor about. Have I created contingency plans for retiring early, retiring later, or maybe a phased retirement? I know I talk to a lot of my clients about a phased retirement. Have I discussed my goals, worries, and contingencies with my spouse or partner? Like anything else in life, it is very, very important to discuss certain things with your partner, and also just to talk about things, to get things off your chest. I talk about some of my biggest worries with my wife often, just to get them out there. So rather than me sitting there and being lost in thought, she kind of knows what's on my plate right now, or what I'm focused on, or what I'm scared of. Examples now, I really hope that our kids are able to stay in school for the whole year. I hope they don't have to be homeschooled. I hope they can be around children for the rest of the year. I hope they can continue their soccer tournaments. These are some of my big worries with the development of my children. And so we talk about those things. And of course, also financial issues, much like we're talking about right now. And lastly, have I discussed these plans with a financial professional? if you're staying up at night and you're worrying about these things, chances are you probably want to reach out to a financial professional. If you're one of my clients, I'm always here, you know that, to send me an email or text. I talk to many of you often. Some I don't talk to you very much because I know you have busy lives, but I want you to know that I am always here for you to talk to. So, in review, that's the do number one. Focus on what's in your control.
Well, hey there. We hope you're enjoying listening to the Pilot's Advisor today. Just wanted to take a quick moment from the show to remind you that if you have any questions ever about what Ryan talks about on the program, need any assistance with your financial planning, need some guidance to get to and through retirement, or whatever financial questions might be on your mind, don't ever hesitate to reach out. The simple way to get in touch with Ryan is to pick up the phone and call or text 843-475-3038. Again, that's 843-475-3038. You can also find Ryan online at FlemingFG.com. That's FlemingFG.com. And as always, we put contact information to get in touch with Ryan in the description or the show notes section of the program. So just check it out on whatever app you're using, and it's easy to get in touch with Ryan. All right, now back to the show.
Moving on to do number two, the number two thing you should do. Protect your retirement cash flow. So your retirement lifestyle depends on your income strategy. And of course, the monthly budget or that you can have to distribute off your retirement savings can change month to month. But getting through volatile and uncertain times is about having enough cash on hand while still not robbing yourself of the future growth. And to give you an example of this, let's say a 4% distribution strategy is one that we consider safe. Well, if the market's down, hopefully that we can be at 4% or lower where we're not eating in more of your retirement savings than we need to when the market's down. Whereas when the market's up, we have a lot more latitude because we're not digging into the saving strategies that we had before. And of course, it gets a lot more complicated than that when you start looking at the fixed income versus equity side of your portfolio and rebalancing and making sure we're making prudent decisions with our engineered portfolio depending on what the market's doing month to month. So with that being said, is your lifestyle safe? Some of the critical planning questions you might ask yourself with something like this is, do I have enough cash to avoid drawing down a portfolio that's lost value? Obviously, if we need $10,000 a month, when our portfolio is down, it's going to take a lot more to pull out $10,000 a month. And do we have some safe cash or some cash now that will allow us to not do that? And this is when we start talking about buckets of money now, short-term and long-term, because we'll have different investment strategies for each of those in the bucket strategy outlook. If you don't know what this bucket strategy outlook is, that's why I'm here. Reach out to me. We can discuss it. We can come up with a plan, and we can look at your portfolio, look at your budget, and come up with a plan going forward. Another aspect, have I optimized my Social Security strategy to potentially maximize my government guaranteed income? We work our whole lives, and then we just pull on Social Security. And making those decisions is a very, very complicated piece of your retirement picture. It's one of the few things out there that is going to be protected with inflation. And what I mean by that is, Social Security, as you go forward, it will not necessarily keep up with inflation, but the government does give you bumps to take into account for inflation, where most of your portfolio you're trying to keep up and or beat inflation so that you don't allow inflation to rob you of your retirement savings as well. So, is my income flexible enough to adapt to the volatile market conditions? Have I tested different portfolio strategies and scenarios, determine how much of my money is safe to withdraw from my investments in the short term? Am I aware of the advanced income strategies that may help shield income from downturns? Have I reviewed my income strategy to see if 2019 and 2020 government legislation has affected me, how it's going to change? RMDs just changed from 70.5 to 72. Not required to take a RMD this year. Questions like that are very prudent for, things that are going on in our current environment. Have I discussed my income strategy with a financial professional? Where are we sitting right now? Do you have safe money? Do you have money now? Do you have long-term and short-term money that's growing for you to help you with a 20 or 30-year retirement picture? All things that we need to consider and look at. Reach out to me if you have questions. Finally, moving on to do number 3. You want to reinvestment your investment portfolio. It's not in a down market or a volatile market at the time to make some emotional decisions about your portfolio, but we need to rebalance depending on what's going on in the market and have a good plan and not ignore what's going on. Of course, I always talk about it's never a good time to panic, and we don't want to panic and make emotional decisions, but that doesn't mean we want to just hide from what's actually going on. This is where we really get paid to make positive decisions and coach clients through making positive decisions during volatile times. So investing for retirement in today's markets, it's not a set it and forget it. It's a continual process of adapting to these changing conditions and evaluating risks against possible opportunities. Getting it wrong can really screw up your whole retirement, and it might cause you to have to retire later, set back any of your retirement dreams, or maybe even cutting back on your lifestyle. I like to say that even though most Americans and most people out there don't save enough for retirement and don't realize how much they really have to save for retirement, the accumulation phase is the easy part of the retirement picture. The distribution phase is much, much, much more complicated. And I focus so much of my studies on that because that's where you can't really go back to work. You're kind of stuck with what you have. And that's why I became a retirement income certified professional. That's why I became a chartered retirement planning counselor, to actually look at the tax strategies, to look at coaching people, distribution strategies, and values and numbers, all having to do with the distribution phase, because it is much, much more complicated than just saving money for retirement. So with that being said, are those investments you have, are they positioned for those uncertain markets? And some critical planning questions you might ask when you're revisiting your portfolio and really digging into how it was engineered. And if you don't know this, you need to talk to your advisor and or reach out, and we can look at your current portfolio. But some of those critical questions you might ask yourself: is my investment strategy up to date for the current conditions? Am I still on track for the retirement I want, or does it look like I might have to hold off retirement until we have a little bit of recovery, or we build those retirement assets a little bit more? Am I positioned to take advantage of the hidden opportunities or volatility the volatility can offer? In most cases, volatility is up or down. Volatility actually gives us the growth in investing. However, the negative volatility is where most people, the induced fear comes on. But when the market's down, if you're not really pulling money in retirement, but you're still saving, it actually creates an amazing opportunity to buy into the market while everything was down. If you had $100,000 or $200,000 in cash sitting on the sidelines back in March when things hit rock bottom, it was an amazing opportunity for people, and I know many that did take advantage of this and double their money in a very, very short period of time. So it actually does create opportunities. Oh, and are you protected against the sequence of returned risk and the dangers of withdrawing too much from a portfolio that's lost value? And I think about this because I have a few pilots that retired at the very end of 2019. 2019 was a great year where we recovered a lot of what happened in 2018. Big growth that year, but then of course going right into coronavirus. If you retired in January of 2020, you ran right in to this sequence of returns risk. And if you had to start drawing off your 401k right then, it's a really, really rough time because your market value was down quite a bit. So is your portfolio risk adjusted for your age, goals, and investing personality? And a lot of this was when you're in that fragile stage of plus or minus 5 years. Do you have that money now, short-term money and long-term money? And those are things that we need to focus on. Are there advanced investment strategies I should be considered that may help mitigate the effects of volatility? Have I discussed my investment strategy with a financial professional? All questions you should ask yourself, and do's that you should, and that is check into your portfolio, see how it's invested. Am I ready for a sequence of returns risk? Am I ready for retirement for the age I'm at, and what my risk profile is? All questions to ask yourself.
Have you ever wanted to learn more about the academic approach to investing and saving and planning for retirement that Ryan talks about here on The Pilot's Advisor? Well, if so, go visit pilotsadvisor.com. pilotsadvisor.com. You can watch a quick webinar on the academic approach to investing. It'll show you how not to speculate and gamble with your money. It's all based on Nobel Prize winning research. Only takes about 10 minutes to get through the video and watch it. Going to be worth your time, I promise you. Go check it out right now, pilotsadvisor.com. It's a webinar that covers that academic approach to investing. pilotsadvisor.com. All right, back to the show.
Some of the do's I think are a little bit easier than the don'ts, and because I find that when I'm coaching my clients or seeing how people are reacting to negative news in the market or a recession or volatile times, it's mostly focusing on not doing the don'ts. And I think that emotion and greed and fear, those are all the things that we're not sitting back and thinking logically, and take a little bit more coaching. So the number one don't. This is something that you definitely have to focus on. You cannot do, and that's get scared and make an emotional decision about your portfolio when the market's down. Do not give in to fear. Uncertainty is absolutely scary, and especially when you're navigating one of the biggest life transitions there is when you're about to enter retirement. But giving into the fear and making emotional decisions about your money at that point in time can be more damaging than anything else you could ever imagine. It's even just as damaging for someone that's 20 or 30 years from retirement, because they're still playing the long-term game, meaning, the market's going to come back. They can handle this up and down in the market. They don't need to withdraw off their retirement funds at this point in time. So rebalance, stay focused on the long term, and you're going to win. So you always have to analyze where you're at, but do not give in to the fear, because the choices you make right now will have a rippling effect for your retirement savings or through your entire retirement as far as what your lifestyle and cash flow needs can be. So are you at risk of making a fear-based decision? And if you are, you need to reach out to your financial professional, your financial advisor, and talk through these things and come up with a good strategy or plan. He or she may need to talk you off the ledge. And I must say that this is something that is a normal conversation I have with some of you listeners out there. So the critical planning questions you might ask with the volatile markets, the recession, the coronavirus. Am I checking my investment account balances too frequently? Not enough? I mean, sometimes it's a little bit more healthy to not check them every single day, that I know many of you guys do. Do I have a clear, emotional-free decision-making strategy for my finances? One of the biggest things that I try to teach my clients by having an academic perspective that's long-term, that's based off of Nobel Prize winning research, that doesn't cause you to speculate and gamble with your money, not trying to time the market, not trying to track record invest, not trying to stock pick, is because you can sleep at night, and it's a proven strategy that's going to work over the long term if you don't make mistakes. So do I have a clear, emotionally free decision-making strategy for my finances? You need to understand and have an idea of how markets work and how you feel about markets. And make sure you're not doing, am I chasing trends or taking on too much risk? Buying gold right now, or, the different Bitcoin strategies that you'd be amazed at some of the questions I get. Am I taking on too little risk and risking future growth potential? When a market's down, that's when it's going to come back up. But sadly, most people do the exact opposite of what they should be doing. They should be buying what's low and selling what's high. And sadly, investors make emotional decisions and do the exact opposite of what they should be doing in these times. And lastly, have I discussed my worries with a financial professional or my financial coach or my financial advisor? So don't number 2, do not put off critical decisions. Sometimes sitting on the sidelines feels the safest when there's uncertainty all around you, but inaction can also be as dangerous as imprudent emotional action. And if all of it leaves you vulnerable to any circumstances if you don't analyze fully what's going on. If you're close to or already in retirement, you don't have the luxury of waiting it out or doing nothing. You need to analyze your current situation, your portfolio, your distribution strategy, and make necessary changes. Is your future at risk? Some of the critical planning questions you should ask yourself: am I 100% confident that my retirement strategies can carry me through these challenging conditions? Do I understand what I should be doing to help protect myself and my lifestyle from volatility? Has a financial professional reviewed my strategies or talked to me about this in retirement within the last 12 months? Or, with a big recession or something that we've dealt with in these crazy market times of the coronavirus, it's whether it's been 12 months or not, it's a good time to sit down with your financial advisor and talk about things going forward. The biggest thing is don't sacrifice your retirement dream to the fog of uncertainty. Don't let uncertainty cause you to have so much fear that you ball up, don't make any decisions, or that you make emotional decisions with your money. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the fog of uncertainty, you're not alone. Contact us and reach out to us, and we'll analyze your portfolio, talk about what you have going on, because we're here to help you safeguard your retirement and to not make any emotional mistakes. I'm here to help you navigate retirement and the chaotic conditions, even what we have this year, and help you create a roadmap through tomorrow's uncertainty, because the one thing that I do know is that I don't know if the next 20% is going to be up or down, but I know the next 100% is going to be up, because we're going to look at the long term, but there are going to be rough roads ahead. It's not going to be just 2020. There'll be rough stuff down the road, because that's just what happens. So I'm here for you all the time. Reach out, and I hope you have a great day.
You've been listening to The Pilot's Advisor, featuring Ryan Fleming, a financial advisor at Fleming Financial Group, serving clients worldwide, but based out of Charleston, South Carolina. If you have any questions for Ryan on what we've talked about on today's show, maybe a future topic idea, or want to talk more about getting a complimentary review of your financial plan, here's the best ways to get in touch. You can go online to the website FlemingFG.com. That's FlemingFG.com. You can also email Ryan. It's simply Ryan@FlemingFG.com. Or you can call or text to get in touch. 843-475-3038 is the number. That's 843-475-3038. Thanks for listening to The Pilot's Advisor, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting apps. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and many more locations. So whatever app you like to use, search for The Pilot's Advisor Podcast today and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action.